Hello everyone, Skits here, and today we'll be taking a look at all the mods I use in my Fallout New Vegas, which is a question I get almost every day, and surprisingly, so far I didn't make a separate video about this topic. Anyway, there are three main parts that I mod in my Fallout New Vegas, and that is the gameplay mechanics, visuals, and also the interface. I don't really care too much about content, since I always review different mods every month, and whenever I pass through some quests or when I use some weapons, I usually uninstall them and install new ones that I'm going to review in the next video. So therefore, when it comes to mods that I always use in my game, there aren't actually that many of them. When it comes to the visuals, I already did two separate videos about all the graphic mods I use. So in this video, we're only going to take a very quick look at them. And if you want to know a bit more about them, you can check out their respective videos. So when it comes to models and textures, my main to-go mods are Avis and NMC's texture pack. Other than that, I also use the official Pip-Boy radius, semi-transparent door glass, enhanced blood textures, collision meshes, HQ Dust Storm FX, and also improved Cyberdogs, Deathclaws, ED, robots, and super mutant textures. For the ENB, I always use the Rudy ENB that I have been using for a few years now, so please stop asking me about that. I mean, like 90% of questions I usually get are about my ENB, and in all of my new videos, it is the only ENB I ever use, except for special occasions when I'm actually reviewing some other ENBs. When it comes to my character, for males I'm using the high resolution male body textures, and also either Breeze's or Robert's male body, depending on which one I currently need. When it comes to the female character, I'm using the Beware of Girl Type 3 body modification, and on top of that I use the Type 6 modification, and along with that I also use the Beauty Pack Plus, Mojave Delight, and also a special hair replacer for that mod as well, that adds a few more colors to hairs. For all the other NPCs I also recommend Fallout Character Overhaul and New Vegas Redesigned 3, however that mod is not compatible with Rudy ENB, so you have to choose either one of those two. For the gameplay visuals I also use better head bits that along with enhanced blood textures makes everything a bit more bloody. For the visuals I also cannot forget about Electro City, Fallout, and interior lighting overhaul that are a must-have if you want to enhance atmosphere and lighting in your game. And there is also one special mod I use for all the clothings, which is the Wasteland Clothing HD mod that retextures all the clothings in the game, and I would definitely recommend it. Along with NCR Trooper Overhaul that does the same thing for the NCR and also adds a bunch of new armors into the game. Since I'm already talking about visuals and armors, I would also recommend T6M Equipment Replacer and T6M Jeans outfits for Type 6 body that I use in most of my thumbnails and gameplay videos. Now that we've got visuals out of the way, let's move on to the most important category, which is the gameplay. For the animations and movement on my character, I used quite a few new mods that just came out. First one of them is the first person weapon animation overhaul by Hitman. That is definitely a must-have. Another very new mod I use is the animation project that adds a bunch of new really cool looking animations, like animations for sprinting, picking up stuff, or for falling, that I also use along enhanced camera. And with these three mods combined, my first person experience was improved a lot. When it comes to combat, I also use Ragdolls. Along with that also comes the Lazarus project that can also improve your FPS experience by adding tons of new mechanics that are typical for FPS games. And with that mod I would also recommend the Real Recoil, that is in my opinion the best recoil mod out there for New Vegas. And of course we also cannot forget about Project Nevada, which is a classic that everyone should have in their New Vegas. Only other gameplay mod I usually use is the Weapon Mods Expanded that modifies the modification system. Now that we've got the visuals and the gameplay out of the way, let's take a look at the interface. A lot of people have been asking me what sort of dialogue mod I use, and for those people I have an answer. It is a dialogue system that comes from Project Brazil, a very popular quest mod, but I found out that there is also a separate version for it called MTUI that also adds a very similar interface to the one that is used in Project Brazil. Other than that, I also use the mod configuration menu, one HUD by Gopher, that saves me a lot of time, since thanks to this mod HUD is not always on the screen, and so therefore I don't have to turn it on and off every time I want to record some sort of cinematic footage. When it comes to interface, you of course cannot forget about the Jip and Lutana's New Vegas script extender plugin that is a must-have for most of these interface mods, and for organizing all of the mods from this category I also use the User Interface Organizer UIO. Some of the new mods I use also include the Quick Loot system and also Vanilla UI Plus that fixes some of the mistakes that can be found in the original UI. For some of you guys that also want to just test out mods or spawn certain items, I would also recommend New Vegas Item Browser that basically adds a huge menu with all of the items that can be found in vanilla game, along with all the items that are in the mods you installed. And I have to say that it really saves me a lot of time, since thanks to this mod I don't have to search for weapons that I just want to test out. On whenever I need some things like scrap metal or scrapped electronics, I can just spawn them thanks to this menu, and I don't have to look for the console commands that I would otherwise need. So definitely a must-have mod for me, and if I wanted to create a top 10 favorite mods list, this one would definitely be there. Anyway, that is about it for the visuals, graphics and interface category, which are the most important parts of the game for me. When it comes to the content itself, I don't really use any companions since they usually get in the way of recording, and I also don't really have any additional quest mods installed, so that the quest mods that I'm currently taking a look at don't clash with each other, and they also usually take up a lot of space, so when I finish reviewing them I usually uninstall them. When it comes to weapons, there are tons and tons of weapons that come out every month, and personally, other than those weapons I usually review in the videos, I normally only use Millennia's weapons. And when it comes to armor mods, I usually use the T6M equipment replacer and T6M jeans outfits that I mentioned before. Other than that, I also have some armors that I could potentially use on a thumbnail, usually for my female character. And other than that, I only have Caesar's new regime and the before mentioned NCR Trooper Overhaul. And the one final mod I of course cannot forget about is the Groovatron that also saves a lot of time, and it basically allows you to pose with your characters, move them out of the way or make them dance, or do other useful things that you can use either for thumbnails or in the videos themselves. And yeah guys, I guess that's about it. So these are all the mods I usually use in my Fallout New Vegas. Of course, other than those that I'm currently reviewing in the top 10 or any other video. I personally like to keep my New Vegas as clean as possible, since otherwise it would crash and lag a lot, and I would also need to reinstall it quite often. Now, when it comes to this version of New Vegas that I'm using, I think that it has been working properly for around 2 years or so, and I don't have any problems with it. And I would also recommend you guys to do the same and only keep the mods that you're actually using in your game and try not to over mod it, otherwise you're gonna have a lot of problems. And yeah guys, I guess that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, tell me what you think about it in the comments, subscribe for more Fallout New Vegas content, and I will see you next time.